as a broadcast from space and a video from a training aircraft for artificial weightlessness is perfect. In the future, people have revised the rules and decided that now the women's and men's locker room will be in the same room. The hero puts his wedding ring on the shelf. Half a minute later it is back on his finger. Murphy enters the hall exactly at the moment when the heroine shows how cool she is. In addition, she does not seek to enlist the help of colleagues and neutralize the criminal. Her choice is to beat a citizen to death in the face right in front of the superiors. Hey Murphy, can you wait until your partner is fully seated in the car before taking off at full speed? A moving model of a robot is fundamentally different from a stationary one made in full size. And then someone came up with a brilliant idea. Let's demonstrate a combat robot to the board of directors, created to guard the streets, right in the office at the top of a skyscraper. And let's not forget to supply this thing with live ammunition. It's not some kind of test copy that can behave as you like. If I were this guy, I would have run out of the office a long time ago, instead of rushing around in the crosshairs of huge machine guns. The character's stomach is torn into small pieces, although in fact it is quite whole, and the bullets that passed through did not break any glass in the windows behind him. The victim fell with his feet to the robot. In the next frame he is already lying sideways to him for some reason, and the trunks are standing next to him and smoke is pouring out of them, although a second ago they were lowered and there was no smoke.
I'm confident that we can go to prototype within 90 days.
A ready-made program for the mass implementation of RoboCops is already at the final stage, but so far not a single copy has been created and there are not even suitable donors. This is not called the final stage, but complete zero.
95th floor.
Surprisingly, when the participants of the presentation go back, they find themselves much higher, already on the 120th floor. Judging by the absence of bullet marks on the asphalt, the shootout in this scene will be conducted exclusively with blank cartridges. The cop's car is shot at from the front, but the side window flies out of it, and then her windshield is smashed with a flashing light, but after a couple of seconds both are in perfect order. Is there still no help? Spit on the instructions obliging to wait for reinforcements. Let's rush into battle against the gang together. And let's not forget to split up to make life easier for the bad guys. The surprise factor is on the side of the heroes, but Lewis, like the last dilettante, bursts a bubble right in front of the opponent's bladder and is instantly discovered. If, according to the plot, it's not time for the character to die, there will surely be something soft by chance where he falls. And this is how criminals behave, who barely left the police a few minutes ago and are about to expect a possible raid. The operator's finger is visible in the lower right corner. I'm sure you've done the same thing by accident at least once in your life and there was a dark spot on the photos. The whole RoboCop program is based on the control of a mechanical body by a human brain, so the donor for the prototype was a cop who had half his head blown off by a shot. At the beginning of the film, it is shown that the criminals killed a cop named Frederickson. Before he died, he identified the leader of the gang. It was this character who was supposed to be a RoboCop, not Murphy, whose brains had to be scraped off the concrete floor. We just saw Murphy's head blown off, but the director insists that the character stubbornly stays alive until the hospital and remembers the family. And how did this memory get into his memory? Did he leave his house sitting on the roof of the car backwards? The film crew is reflected in the TV screen. As a screwdriver, the technician uses an ordinary drill with a drill bit. And what kind of a selfie lamp was screwed on the hero's face if there was nothing else under his helmet later? I thought the perfect cop who needs to shoot straight needed eagle vision with high resolution, not a 50s TV. Thank you at least that the image is colored. On the screen, RoboCop turns left, although it walks in a straight line all the time. And then he is sitting in a chair with his head up, although in the view from the eyes on the side, and turns around the longitudinal axis.
You check his exact location at all times with one of these.
The city map on the tracking device is simply drawn, and the red LED is mounted in a fixed position. With the help of such a thing, RoboCop cannot be tracked in any way. The last policeman in the row shot all the cartridges and just stood there with a discharged pistol in his hands. Why is Lewis shooting at a target that has already come close to her? In the shooting gallery, RoboCop's gun stops working at some point, although the hero diligently pulls the trigger.
Yeah, I emptied the register and put the money in the bag.
From the moment the alarm button was pressed to the arrival of help, 15 seconds passed. Do you believe that? I'm not. Bullet marks evaporate from the hero's chest between shots. Attention, now physics stops working. The criminal must hold the machine gun with the same force with which the RoboCop bends the muzzle. The perfect policeman acts according to the perfect program. Destroy private property with the body of the criminal and leave him lying there without checking whether he is alive or not. Not a guardian of order, but gold. Also, hello to physics again. Murphy hits the villain from the front, but for some reason he flies far back. RoboCop casts a shadow on the wall directly in front of him, although the headlights shine far to the side. An experimental sample has a fuller right to ignore the leaders of an important operation, doing whatever it takes into his iron helmet. The people on the thermal imager screen actually just put on colored reflective clothing. RoboCop sent the criminal to the knockout with a powerful non-contact blow. Why did he hit him at all? The police should make an arrest, not make a trial right at the scene of the crime. In order for the actor to remain unharmed, a huge trampoline was deployed on the street. The man lands too high above the ground and bounces upside down forward. The toilet in OCP is made with a twist. Half a meter of empty space was left under the door of the booth so that a person without pants could be seen better. Instead of leaving, Jones stayed at the door and waits for the cameraman to command that the take was successfully filmed. The gas stations of the future are designed in such a way that fuel is supplied to the machines using conventional garden hoses for watering plants. Connectors for connecting to computers are equipped with an additional special socket so that the robot can stick a huge pin there. Criminals for databases should be photographed on a light background with a sign in their hands and marks on the wall to indicate height. and in my opinion it says 3,000 here, and on the house itself in general 3,128. In the future, the property put up for sale is left unattended. Although in such a criminal city there would have been a drug den here a long time ago. Alex's son pointed the pitchfork directly at the camera. In the picture they are directed to the side. For a big shot from a large corporation, Bob's security situation is very bad. It seems that people are more common in this city and the rich don't think about security at all. The powder scattered on the table simply evaporated in the next frame. There was only one grenade, but the house exploded in several places. The machine for packing powder from bandits is configured so that a good half of it spills past the necks of the vessels. Why does this guy drink wine after dirty fingers have been dipped in it? It's amazing how none of the villains, showering him with bullets, never hit him in the mouth, as if he had this place covered by an invisible force barrier. Arresting the leader of the gang, the hero considers it absolutely necessary to throw his body into everything that catches his eye. Without this, the triumph of good over evil will not look convincing enough. And to make the understudies a little safer to fly, the glass is undermined at the last moment by a hidden pyro patron. Criminals are brought to the police stations through a specially designated entrance, and not through the main lobby, through which ordinary citizens walk.
Book him.
What's the charge?
The station chief does not know that Detroit's most wanted criminal, who is being sought for the murder of 31 police officers, has been brought to him. Now the device with the location of the RoboCop has got a new display, and in general it looks completely different. When RoboCop comes to OCP, someone from the film crew is reflected in his helmet.
Any attempt to arrest a senior officer of OCP results in shutdown.
Why not embed a shutdown function in RoboCop, for example, when pronouncing a code word? Why all this antics and twisting? In the compounds, the human body in black clothes is clearly visible. Perfect machine program. First, disable the enemy with a large caliber machine gun, and when it's time to just finish him off with a burst, why then switch to melee mode? And of course, the classics. A deadly weapon aimed at the one who should live to see the end credits will hit it is unclear where, even if you shoot at point-blank range. In this shot, the rocket slides along a cable stretched across the entire corridor. OCP programmers were not too lazy and taught the robot to squeal disgustingly if it suddenly falls on its back and cannot get up. The masterpiece of the production. Murphy has just been in Jones' office on the 120th floor of a skyscraper, runs down a couple of flights of stairs while Ed 209 screams from behind, and suddenly, the hero finds himself at the very bottom, on the underground floor of the building.
We have orders to destroy it!
And we will do it with weapons that are useless against a robot. I present a report in which they report for wasted cartridges, and how in this situation, not a single bullet got into the mouth.
He's a cyborg, you idiot! He recorded every word you said.
It's just impossible, said the man who yesterday, in the presence of RoboCop, confessed in plain text to the murder. Interestingly, this record obtained when entering the warehouse without an official warrant cannot be accepted in court under the laws of America.
Delta City begins construction in 2 months. 2 million workers living in trailers.
Wow. The screenwriter has no idea what 2 million people living in trailers are. It would be a trailer city much bigger than Detroit itself. At first it seemed to us that the RoboCop mixture tasted like baby food. Now it turned out that this mixture is a simple baby food. The bolt that the hero unscrews from his head is actually attached to it from the outside, and then he also disappeared from the screwdriver. And how does Murphy unscrew bolts with perfectly round hats? The lower jaw is covered with an overlay. When the hero takes off his helmet, this patch disappears without a trace, and a mechanism appears on the neck, which was not in any of the previous frames. It is clearly visible that they are made of rubber.
I can feel them, but I can't remember them.
Then it was not worth inserting into the film an episode where Murphy perfectly remembered his wife and son after he saw their photo in his former home. A police strike means that criminals are released from prison for nothing. Clarence's cool car has a rearview mirror falling off. Well done, Murphy. It is better to practice shooting a few meters away from the sleeping Lewis. This is how gentlemen behave. How can a hero have the vision of a robot with an electronic sight if he still has ordinary human eyes and the helmet is removed?
Looking for me?
Before firing, it is necessary to attract the attention of the enemy with a meaningless phrase, so give them a chance to survive. RoboCop pierced the glass with 9 bullets, for some reason none hit Emil. And judging by the hairstyle, someone completely different fell out of the van. And why does toxic waste pour out through the car doors, and not through huge cracks in the tank? A crane with a movie camera is reflected in the driver's door. If someone is doused with toxic waste, his whole body will immediately turn into mashed potatoes. The tormented water from the fall of the car in 2 seconds is absolutely calm. Clarence fires a pistol, and a shotgun charge hits the glass. Leon decided that it was better to try himself as a crane operator than to shoot a RoboCop with a powerful rifle. At the abandoned factory, the mechanisms are still working fine. Even the cargo of scrap metal was left at a height. During the shot, some kind of frame fell off the camera lens. In the background, a man walks calmly, about whom there is not a word in the final credits. It's good that the OCP office has a unique connector through which the RoboCop can show the video to everyone.
I had to kill Bob Morton because he made a mistake.
When Jones said this phrase, the hero stood bent over and staggering, holding his head to one side and could not shoot the villain exactly and clearly, as in the studio. The hero falls out of the first window from the column, although in fact in the second. The infamous worst special effect of all time with a gnarled doll whose arms are 1.5 times longer than they should be. Behind the RoboCop, the leg of a member of the film crew is visible. He then holds a mock-up of the leg in which the gun is placed.